You guys are going to take a ReQuiz today on the equations and inequalities stuff that we did before the end of the quarter. And so at this point you should have done the two do now questions. So the first one says, Steve shovels sidewalks to earn money. He makes $10 per sidewalk plus an additional $25 per week. He earned more than $200 last week. Which inequality best represents the situation, where S represents the number of sidewalks? So hopefully the first thing you did was eliminate some of the answer choices, because it says he earned more than $200, which means greater than 200. So we can rule out B and D because those ones say greater than or equal to. So then we're trying to find the inequality where S is the number of sidewalks. So if S is the number of sidewalks, then I go back up to the question and I find where it's talking about the sidewalks, which is right here, $10 per sidewalk. So I know it's going to be 10S plus an additional $25 a week, so plus 25. And then we said more than is greater than 200. So you should have picked choice C for that one. The second part of this, I messed up when I was typing the multiple choice answers, so we'll kind of ignore those for a second. And it says, which inequality represents the number of sidewalks S Steve had to shovel to earn more than $200? So instead of answering that question, we'll just look at what's the minimum number of sidewalks he would have had to shovel. So basically this was just asking you to solve your inequality. So 10S plus 25 is greater than 200. I'll draw my line down. Here's my inner layer, there's my outer layer. So I'm going to do minus 25 first. And those are going to cancel out, so I get 10S is greater than 175. And then I divide both sides by 10, and I get S is greater than 17.5. Well, he's not going to shovel 0.5 or half of a sidewalk. So then we would say the minimum number of sidewalks that he would have to shovel would be 18, because we're going to bump that up because it has to be greater than that amount. Alright, so we're going to do a few review questions here just to make sure that you know what you're doing, and then you'll have some time to take the ReQuiz. So for multiple choice questions like these, you've got a couple choices. The intention is for you to write an equation or an inequality and solve it. You don't have to do it that way. You could also use the multiple choice answers and test them out and just see which one works. So I'll show you how to do that. So the first one says, a shipping company charges a flat fee of $4 plus $2 per pound to mail a package. Steve can spend at most $15 to mail his package. What is the maximum number of pounds that Steve can mail? So if I'm just using my choices and testing them out, we want to find the maximum number of pounds, the most that he can do. So I'm going to start with the biggest number and work my way down. So we'll start with 7. So if he mails 7 pounds, and it says right here that it's $2 per pound, then 7 times 2 would be $14, plus the $4 flat fee, that would be $18, but he only has $15 to spend. So he's not going to be able to mail 7 pounds. So then you would try 6. So I would say, okay, if it's 6 pounds times $2 a pound, that's $12, plus the 4 is $16. Nope, he only has $15. So then we try 5. Alright, 5 pounds times $2 a pound is $10, plus the $4 fee is $14, and he does have enough money for that. The other way would be, like I said, to write an equation or an inequality. So we're looking for the maximum number of pounds. So then I look for where it's talking about pounds, $2 per pound. So I would put 2p plus 4, and then he can spend at most $15, so less than or equal to 15. And then you would just solve this. Alright, the next one is a similar question. So it says, Josh has a rewards card for a movie theater. He receives 15 points for becoming a rewards card holder. He earns 3.5 points for each visit to the movie theater. He needs at least 55 points to earn a free movie ticket. What is the minimum number of visits he needs to earn his first free movie ticket? So again, I don't have to write an equation or an inequality. I can just test out my answer choices. Alright, now this time it's asking what's the minimum number, the lowest number, so I would tend to start with the lowest number and test that out first. Alright, so we're trying to find the minimum number of visits. So if he goes 10 times and he earns 3.5 points for each visit, then 10 times 3.5, you type that into your calculator, that's 35. He also gets the 15 points for becoming a member, so that would come out to 50. He wants at least 55. So 10 visits isn't going to be enough. So then I would go to 11. So if he goes 11 times and he earns 3.5 points each time, then 11 times 3.5 would be 38.5, plus he still gets the 15 points. So that would come out to 53.5. He wants at least 55, so again, that's not enough. So then we're going to try 12. So 12 visits times 3.5 points for each visit is 42 points, plus the 15 points for signing up, that's 57, and that is at least 55. So 12 would be the minimum number of visits. Alright, and then again, if you prefer, you could also just write the inequality. So it's 3.5 points for each visit, so 3.5v plus the 15 points. He wants at least 55, so greater than or equal to 55. And then you would solve that. Right, on the back here, the one at the top says the perimeter of the figure below is 63 inches. What is the value of x? So to do a question like this, you need to understand that perimeter is where we add up all the sides. Okay, so what this is saying is, if I were to add up these sides, it's going to equal 63 inches, because it says the perimeter is 63. So all I'm going to do is add these up by combining like terms. So I've got x, x, and x, that's 3x, and then I have a positive 5 and a positive 7, which is 12, and it says the perimeter is 63, so equals 63. Now again, this is just a two-step equation. So we've got our inner layer that's closest to the x, and then we have our outer layer. So I'm going to undo the outer layer first. So I'm subtracting 12 from both sides, so those cancel out, and I get 3x equals 51. And then since this is multiplication, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And 51 divided by 3 is 17. So we get 17 inches. Right? And the last one is a show your work question. Alright, you need to be extremely careful on the show your work questions of the wording. If it says equation, you have to do an equal sign. If it says inequality, you have to do one of these symbols, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Alright, so the last question here says, the drama club sold tickets to a play for $5 each. They also made $55 in soda and popcorn sales. If the drama club made a total of $290, how many tickets were sold? Write and solve an equation. Okay, so what I would recommend is the first time that you read through the question, circle either equation or an inequality. Alright, so here it's equation, so I'm even going to put a little equal sign next to that so that I remember. Alright, and now I'm going to go back and look at what I'm trying to find. So it says, we want to find how many tickets were sold. So I'm going to write my let statement, let t equal number of tickets. And then I'm going to go back and look for where it's talking about the tickets. So right here it says tickets to a play were $5 each. So 5t. They also made $55 in soda and popcorn sales. So plus 55. We know that we want an equation, so it's going to be equals, and the total was 290. So there's our equation. And now we're just going to solve it. So there's our inner layer and our outer layer. So we're going to do minus 55 on both sides first. So those will cancel, and we'll get 5t equals, you subtract that, you get 235, and then we'll divide both sides by 5, and we get t equals 47. Alright, so at this point, you're going to have the rest of the class to take your ReQuiz. Think about these strategies as you go through it, and again, be careful on the show your work questions of whether it's asking you to write an equation or an inequality.